They're flexing. Is it because we're folding? China now sending Navy ships for military games near Taiwan after doing a drive-by Alaska's coastline last week. And Russia sending military help to Syria after creating havoc in Ukraine. Jonathan, sure seems like they're thumbing their nose at us everywhere. Is it because they see a lack of leadership here?
Yeah, America, it's not just that we look weak, we are weak. I mean, we are unable to act in our own selfish interests as Americans. Everything in this country, in this government has to be done on a unilateral basis, right? We have to, work with our friends, we have to work with our partners in the Middle East, and nowhere along the line is any sense that America can act for itself, even if it means maybe, I don't know, angering the Russians, angering the Chinese. We want to be everyone's friend, but we should be feared, not befriended by the world. That's the right
Wayne, how is it that we have the largest standing army, we have the biggest, we have the most assets, we have the strongest, most powerful army in the world, and as John points out, it's a perceived weak army?
Well, it's because we're reducing it constantly. That's why. Because it's the Congress wants to reduce it. Everybody wants to reduce military expenses. So they're picking on the Army and the Navy and the Marine Corps and the Air Force, and they're trying to reduce it. If you don't reduce it, you've got to show something about building it up. One of the things that Ronald Reagan did, and one of the reasons that the Cold War went the way it went, was because he showed them strength.
All right, Jess, here's the deal. We have a badass army. We have badass generals. We have badass Marines, military, straight up and down, all Air Force, all of them. We don't have a badass administration, and therein lies the problem.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but what I will say to both Jonathan and Wayne's points, I think that they're right. The sequester has severely damaged our military capacity and what we can do. Also, there are a lot of people who are essentially getting benched. President Obama, when he addressed, I believe it was West Point last year, was talking to all these grads who want to be out there, and we're talking about more desk jobs for our military personnel, which I don't think is a step in the right direction. But what I would add is that I think a chief element here is about rhetoric. And I think that when President Obama talks about U.S. leadership and American exceptionalism specifically, there are a lot of Americans who question that from him, as well as leaders around the world.
So can I stop you there? Does he talk about it, or does he apologize for it?
He doesn't apologize for it. I don't think that there's a lot of accusations here that that Obama doesn't love America. I do not feel that way. He has a vision of it that is different, a multipolar word.
Michelle, does he talk about U.S. exceptionalism, or does he apologize for it?
He apologizes for it. Look, this has nothing to do with money. It doesn't have to do with people being at desk jobs. This has to do with the commander-in-chief that is not taken seriously. And the reason why is because he's constantly negotiating from a position of weakness. Look at the Iran deal. The Iran deal is not because of money. It's because we have a really poor administration that isn't taking the threat of Iran seriously. And they are negotiating from like I said, a position of weakness. Look at Muslim extremism. They don't even want to call it Muslim extremism. That has nothing to do with money. That has to do with this administration that looks weak and acts weak. And what Putin sees right now is he sees a world leadership vacuum, and he's going to try to fill that vacuum because he realizes we do not have a strong leader.
Go ahead, Wayne, final thought.
You don't call $1.5 billion money? What, are you crazy or something? This does have a lot to do with money.
What I'm saying is that it comes from the top.
It's giving away money. Giving away. We know that. We know all of that. It's giving away money to them. That's what you're doing. And you got to get to the specifics. You can't just generalize.
Well,
I think when we have a commander-in-chief that's not being taken seriously, that's the problem.
Look, we spend enough money. We have the standing army. We have the strength. We just need the command. I'm on Michelle's team on this.
Hillary sounded very strong this week at Brookings that Iran was going to be our subject. I mean, give her a chance. Give her a chance.
All right, we got to leave right there. We ran out of time. Coming up, we all know the county clerk who refused to do her job because of her religion, but what about your job? It's a nationwide firestorm over the religion in the workplace. Coming up next.